Hey everybody, if you have a GM car, have you ever wondered what service bulletins are out against it? Have you ever wondered about campaigns? Or just wanted to see the service manual without going out and buying a whole copy? They have a service through AC Delco that allows you to get a subscription, even a short-term, I say 3-day subscription, to any of the service information that they have in their system. And it depends on the age of the car. A new car, my 2019 Suburban, I can go and pull the entire service manual and all of the information that goes along with it. Current bulletins, current service information, any recalls, you can see the whole system. If you go back to cars like the old Camaro, they don't have the whole service manual on, but if you were ever curious on your mid-80s Camaro, what the issues of the day were that caused them to create bulletins, you can go in and look that up. And the answer is that it's like $22 for 3 days, and you have access to the whole General Motors world of service information. It's the same information that I had available when I was working as an employee that I could go and tap into any day of the week from the inside. And for a long time I didn't realize it, but they offer it to the outside. Now, understand that this is not pointed to do-it-yourselfers. It's pointed toward independent repair shops mostly. And you can even get long-term subscriptions if you want you want the information for a whole year. But if you even want to be able to get calibration files to flash modules, all of those things are available, and I'm going to show that to you here in a minute. The main caution is that this isn't intended for do-it-yourselfers, it's intended for professionals. Yet on the other hand, I've gone in for the 85 Camaro, and I've pulled down all of the old service bulletins that are of interest to me. And that may be of some help because we're still working to fix things on these older cars, and if the factory had a problem and they put out a bulletin on it, it's sometimes worth knowing that information. Now I'll say from a safety standpoint, if it was a safety recall for something, I know from doing my own searches, those get reported to the government. And you can go into the NHTSA database and you can generally find safety recalls. But if they're less than a safety recall, I know there was one on the Camaro for the ignition system, because there's a label on there that explains that they changed the plug gap and they changed the ignition module and so forth. And I was able to go in and find that one. So, but if you're interested, you can set up an account on your own and you can pay your $22 and get a look at what's available. And then there's a wealth of other information. In addition to the main service manuals, there are also things called unit repair. And some of the unit repair is all online. You have to go through page by page. There are some unit repair. This is a 4L60 transmission technician's manual. And the transmission folks were really good about this, especially in days past. And so if you go into that system, I have this one in hard copy, but you can download these in PDF form for many different transmissions. Again, not for everything, but it's an example of what's available. So I'm going to switch over here, and I've got some screenshots coming. I'm going to walk through. I have a 3-day subscription for my Suburban because I had some things I wanted to look up. And so while I had that 3-day subscription, I've been in collecting data for the Camaro, and the system lets you print. And so you can print stuff off, and I've been printing bulletins and so forth. So I'm going to go here in a moment, and I'm going to switch over and do a screen show and show you what's available, just so you have it for your information. So if you'd like to access General Motors service information, most people just don't know is that there is a resource that you can access, and it's really intended for dealerships and independent repair shops. But you have the ability, even as a private individual, to set up an account and to purchase services through this. So you can search for AC Delco TDS, and here's AC Delco TDS, and there's a login or register section. And if you go to that page, this is called TDS's Technical Delivery System, and you have this is pretty wide. It has subscriptions that, if you go all the way down here, this is the one I'm going to focus on, is right here. So this is General Motors Service Manual repair information, no software, campaigns and bulletins from 1980 to present, unit repair from 1997 to present. Unit repair would be things like transmissions. Service manuals from 1996 to present, and owner's manuals from 2003 to present. And here's the subscription amounts. So you can do 3 days for $22. And that is access to all of this for 3 days. And you can pull up the web pages, you can print things, you can do what you wish with it. But and you can look at any car. So it's a pretty wide system. I mean, if you want to have it for a year, it's over $1,000. Again, most of us probably don't want to do that. There could be a point where you'd like to just buy the service manual. I mean, too many times $22, things get expensive. But the neat thing about this, what I really like about this, is this has the campaigns and the bulletins and the recalls. So right now I'm working on my 1985 Camaro, and this was a chance for me to see what all the service bulletins and campaigns were from back in that day. The other thing was, I was looking for some information on my current vehicle, which is a 2019 Suburban, and I don't have the service manual purchased. So I was looking for some diagnostic information. So at the same time, I went ahead and paid the $22 for 3 days. If you have the right systems, you have subscriptions here for software and diagnostic software, and even there's even information where you could get the tools to program your controllers in your own car, in the newer ones. Here's software to emulate Tech 2 on the PC. Now, in some cases, now you would have to do is you'd have to purchase some hardware, but this is really pretty powerful to have the ability to have access to this. And again, if it's short term, some of those price tags are not bad. And I'm going to switch over here for a minute, and I'll show you when I went through and logged into my 3-day account. I set up an account and purchased the 3 days. So I've got a 2019 Suburban. This is what you see. Service manuals and bulletins. This one's for installing GM accessories. All of your owner's manuals are down here. And if you click that link, it looks like this. And again, even for your modern vehicle, You have all the bulletins, campaigns. You can go down here to engine. This is before I retired. When I worked for the company, I had access to this every day. It was because I was on the inside. It's a very good system. One of the things when you set up this account is you have to agree not to disclose to others um, the information here. In other words, I'm not allowed to come in here and find all the bulletins and copy those bulletins off, and share the copies with you. That's part of the agreement in the licensing agreement, I'll call it, in getting an account. So you can come through here and I'll hit bulletins, and so let's just say technical. Here's a whole list of all the bulletins that apply to that 2019 car. What you'll find with these bulletins is there are cautions on the bottom of them. The cautions are that these are for professional service technicians and not for do-it-yourselfers. You need to keep that in mind. I'm going to go over here for the Camaro. Here's what I pulled up for a 1985 Camaro, and this is the entire set of bulletins. But this is everything. I'm just going to scroll through the list. It's pretty extensive. And the nice thing is that there are, in some cases, there are service manual updates where they found a mistake in the manual, and you need to look at it and make a correction. Some are technical things that you may find. Now recognize that some of these are duplicates, there are sometimes the same bulletin under more than one number. Sometimes they'll give a bulletin for Canada and a bulletin for the US. It's hard to say, but there are on occasions 2 or 3 with different numbers that are the same thing. But I was rather surprised to see this long list of all of these that actually applied to my 1985 to a 1985, because some of these will be for the car, some of these will be for carbureted V8s, some of them for V6s, some of them, it's a pretty broad list. But I've gone through this, and I've printed off many of the ones that are of interest to me. I think it'll be very helpful. And so, and I say, as long as I was buying the subscription, I went to get as much as I could. So I'll just end by saying if you've ever had an interest to get in and find some of this information, and you've been doing internet searches, hoping you could find a bulletin or a recall campaign, particularly for the older cars, that's what you would find inside the General Motors system, and they're offering you the access to the system for short periods of time for a reasonable price, at least in my view. So I hope that helps you. Okay, well, you've seen the system, and you see what you can get, and if it's of interest to you, go set up an account and take a look at what's available, and it may help you in repairing your own car. So that's all for now.